Good evening, everyone. My name is Meredith Toohey, and I'm the Nutrition Education Program Manager at the American Nutrition Association, the ANA. The ANA is very pleased to be hosting our very own Victoria Behm and Jessica Titchenal tonight to explore where we are headed with personalized nutrition and nutritional genomics in practice. Jessica is a certified nutrition specialist with a master's in clinical nutrition and integrative health from Maryland University of Integrative Health. She is currently pursuing a doctorate in clinical nutrition and is the specialty training coordinator here at the ANA. Victoria is a certified nutrition specialist with a master's degree in nutrition and integrative health, also from Maryland University of Integrative Health, where she teaches culinary nutrition and life cycle nutrition. She is currently the manager of nutrition science here at the ANA. Welcome, Jessica and Victoria.
Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria Yunez Behm, Manager of Nutrition Science with the ANA.
I'm Jessica Titchenal, Manager of Specialty Training.
And we are so happy to be with you for this hour, a conversation about two closely related topics that both Jessica and I are really excited about and that the ANA champions, and those are personalized nutrition and nutritional genomics.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive deeper into these topics and what they mean for the future of nutrition. Let's get started with personalized nutrition. So Victoria, you collaborated with a group of experts in personalized nutrition over the last couple of years to develop a working consensus of, what the definition of personalized nutrition means. And so what came about through that consensus work?
Yeah, I think this was a really cool project to work on, and I'm really grateful to our collaborators. One of the things that I like to sort of start with when I'm conceptualizing a new project is why. Why do we need this? Why do we need a consensus of personalized nutrition? And what we came to, and this is going to be a familiar concept to our listeners, but acute care is not working well when it comes to chronic disease. There's been a growing call across a lot of different fields for an alternative to reductionist thinking. And this is true of nutrition research, it's true in practice. And for a couple of decades at least, we've been seeing this alternative kind of come to fruition with integrative, functional, and personalized approaches to nutrition. So this is kind of our why, the paradigm's not working. We can't really be reactive any longer when it comes to nutrition. The chronic disease epidemic is devastating, and it's too big for us to wait until people get diagnosed with a disease that's preventable. So we need to be focusing on things like prevention and building resilience. And I think COVID-19 has really brought that conversation into the public square and made it more urgent. So I like that we're at least getting more conversation going outside of the field right now about this need for an alternative. So, the ultimate goal of any aspect of healthcare is to improve human health, and personalized nutrition has a lot of potential to do that. There are a lot of studies that are showing like personalized approaches might be the path forward and really allowing us to reach some of these major health population health outcomes and goals that we need. So again, like with this emerging field, we need that consensus so that we can have some standardization, scalability in research, data, and training, and outcomes, and really prove the evidence for the effectiveness of this approach. And this will help assist in garnering support, funding, and driving favorable policy. So that's really the purpose for building consensus. That's our why, is that we want to really create validation for this field. Another thing I've realized through this work is that everybody's perspective is a little bit different depending on where they come from. So we're practitioners by training, and there are others in research and business, products and services, and public health who kind of have a different slant on this. So that was a really interesting learning as we drafted this definition together. And so all that said, the definition that we wrote, the paper is called Toward a Definition of Personalized Nutrition. So we're kind of proposing this definition, and it's an attempt to create common language around personalized nutrition and what it can do. It's a field that leverages human individuality to drive nutrition strategies that prevent, manage, and treat disease and optimize health. This can take on a couple of different terms in the literature. And one of them is personalized nutrition, but another is precision nutrition. There's individualized nutrition and nutritional genomics. So this is just my take on how those are different. So if personalized nutrition is a field that can prevent, manage, and treat disease and optimize health, and I think all those words are really important as well. Like we have a lot of potential in this field to intervene at different points in someone's health trajectory. So these are the other terms. Precision nutrition, I think, is different in that it's more predictive, and we're not really there quite yet. I think it's more about ultra precise recommendations for predictable outcomes, and we're on our way there, but it's going to take a lot of time and more research. We can and are doing personalized research and can make personalized recommendations based on many factors, even in the absence of these predictive capabilities. Then there's individualized nutrition, which is close to personalized nutrition in that it involves nutritional counseling of a particular individual. It's very patient or client-centered. But recent definitions have differentiated it a little bit from personalized nutrition in that it may not take into account genomics and genetics. So that brings us then to nutritional genomics. And we're going to talk about this later quite a bit, but it's typically considered a tailored approach to nutrition. And I kind of think about it like tailoring an outfit. You know, someone's taking very precise measurements all over the body, really trying to understand who you are in order to craft something that fits you just right. And it's probably not going to fit anybody else. And, you know, it's not a perfect metaphor, but that's kind of the idea, these really precise assessments that come together for the expert, that's the tailor, to create something that's just for that individual. And these are really the most specific kinds of assessments we can do right now, these genomic and omic assessments. So I think nutritional genomics has carved out a really important space in personalized nutrition. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but the general idea is this interplay of the human genome with the foodome, the things that we're consuming and bringing into our bodies. So those are some of the differences. And, you know, I think that no matter what term we use, there is a paradigm shift happening right now toward the stratification of patients into groups with similar traits. And that's happening in research, it's happening in practice, and even personalization to an individual is becoming more and more and more possible. And I think that what's really interesting is like personalized nutrition can already be done even in the absence of this, you know, massive amounts of data. And you're a clinician, you do this in practice too. When someone comes in, the questions you ask about their culture, their background, their likes, their dislikes, you know, that is personalization, how they eat, who they eat with, and tailoring recommendations to that person. And then there's another level up from that, which is kind of these more specific assessments, functional testing, et cetera. And so as we get more data, and I can kind of show what this looks like from our paper, as we have more data, we get more personalized, especially as that data becomes more and more and more specific to the person. So you can do a little bit of personalization just with a regular assessment and intake. And then with more testing and up into the omics and functional biochemistry, we really get to be able to see this beautiful map of what a person is made of, how they function. And we're learning more and more and more about that daily. So it's a really exciting field. I think it's a really exciting time to be part of it. And there's, you know, this prodigious effort really to discover biomarkers that can then be associated with subgroups of people or disease traits. And that's going to be the future of this field. That's going to become so important as we're starting to understand more about the course of treatment and then kind of get to that more precision style nutrition in the future when it can be more predictive. So I think that when we can map someone's health really well and start to create plans and offer guidance, just the more precise we can be, of course, the more effective and better outcomes we can have with people's health. And you can sort of start to see, as I'm talking about this, this web of fields that come together to make PN a reality, and PN is personalized nutrition. We might slip that in there sometimes. But, you know, it's innovation in healthcare technology that's really enabling research to happen. And then also on the clinical side, this diagnostic assessments that are going to be more and more relevant. So I think as those findings start to be translated into nutrition, personalized nutrition models of care, that will inform how practitioners are trained and ultimately how they practice. So as individual people then start to see better or quicker or longer lasting health outcomes, there's scale, and then there's massive public health issues like chronic diseases can start to abate. And that's really the goal. That's why we're all in this. And that's the hope I have for personalized nutrition and personalized medicine in general. And it's kind of interesting to see, this is kind of like the start once again after a 20-year windup since the human genome was sequenced. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, no, this is really fascinating to me. And I think this is what a lot of us as practitioners have been waiting for, is to see all of this pulled together.
Yeah.
So along those lines, what are some of the important concepts for practitioners?
Yeah, I think there's so much promise, and we really like to talk about like the promise of personalized nutrition, and that's true. And I also think it's important to acknowledge that and what personalized nutrition can do, such as turning people's lives around by reversing chronic disease trajectories and giving people back their quality of life. I mean, I'm sure you've had clients who have just really turned a corner and come back from some really hard years. And that's super important and really powerful. And there are also some serious concerns and limitations about where we're at right now in personalized nutrition. And those are real as well. So I think it's important for practitioners to recognize what those are and acknowledge them. One of the biggest things I've heard, and we've talked about this before, Jessica, but issues of accessibility and affordability, and of course, scalability. Right now, you know, we have great science, but not many practitioners have the expertise to really walk someone meaningfully through highly personalized nutrition care, using genomics, using other omic assessments, putting together the pieces of the puzzle of a slew of different types of tests and subjective information. You know, that's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. So for that reason, you know, scalability is an issue. Additionally, just right now, practitioners rate their confidence pretty low when it comes to using all of those tools together for effective personalized nutrition. So we need really good practitioner education, and that's one thing that the ANA is really focused on right now. And in addition to that, like we want to be able to offer these services to the masses. And right now, affordability is a problem because as we know, and as others might be able to imagine, taking the time to do all of that by hand, it's not very effective. And so in addition to training practitioners and getting these tools established and validated and standardized, you know, there's a really important role for industry and technology and innovation in personalized nutrition, because having tools that allow us to do that work and use algorithms and machine learning to take a little bit of the pressure off of doing everything manually is going to be really important. And, you know, some of us are still like making recommendations to clients in Microsoft Word, and there are faster and better ways. And I think there's the part of it is just this kind of convergence of technology with the data and science with practitioners and their needs. And so there's this feedback loop. We all need to be in this together. And I think most of us are really willing to collaborate to do that in the coming years. So unfortunately, though, at the moment, because it is a little bit time consuming or a lot time consuming to do really high touch personalized nutrition, our services are a bit of a luxury at the moment. And so the people who could really benefit from personalized nutrition are probably not able to access the service. Either there aren't highly trained clinicians, or you know, it's just not affordable. And those are some real concerns. And also, I think that because we're aware of that at this juncture, we're going to get there. We're going to get to a point where we can scale a little bit better. So that's something that I know we're excited about for the future of personalized nutrition. There are plenty of companies working on these kinds of tools right now, and we just highlighted several of those in our annual summit that we held recently. And then, you know, there are practitioners that are doing this, and they're doing it really well. And so I think as more practitioners are trained, as we have these tools, as the research continues coming out on different aspects of personalized nutrition, we're really looking at changing the future of health and healthcare, and that's super exciting. And I do also want to acknowledge many practitioners have said something, like how this is going to put me out of the job, all this technology. And I think we can't underestimate or understate the just critical role of the practitioner in healthcare. That's always going to be the case. People need and want a connection, and healing happens more efficiently when someone trusts their care providers, have good relationships, feel cared for. So I think this combination, this plurality of data, practitioner facilitated guidance, innovation and technology, and person-to-person care are really the way forward. So Jessica, I want to turn it over to you and talk about nutritional genomics. We've got this training course that just launched, and we've been working on this for a long time, your team in particular. So talk a little bit about some of those course highlights. Who is this for, and what can learners anticipate?
Yeah, thank you. No, I'm so excited that this course is out there, because I think it does fill a critical role as we shift more into that personalized nutrition realm. So the course is designed for nutrition professionals and advanced healthcare practitioners. So really anybody who wants a deeper understanding of the science of nutrigenomics or nutritional genomics, and then the clinical application, because I think that's where a lot of practitioners they do lack confidence, and not only in personalized nutrition, but there's a lot of research supporting the idea that nutrition professionals and some of those physicians, they're not confident in how to assess the science of nutritional genomics and then relay that to their clients and patients. What do we do with this information, and how can we help people with that data? So as you mentioned earlier, nutritional genomics, it's an important tool that practitioners can utilize when they're creating those personalized nutrition interventions. And it's a growing area of interest, not only for practitioners, but especially for, everyday people who, they want to know what their genes say about them. And you really can't get more individualized than that. However, nutritional genomics is, it's one of those tools. Not only do they not feel confident, but again, it's expensive for a lot of folks. And the affordable tests aren't necessarily the most reliable. And here's where that practitioner really comes in. The practitioner plays that role of educator and helping folks understand not only what the data means, but how they can utilize it. And in some cases, they can't, or we need to bring in someone like a genetic counselor. But the nutritionists and the other healthcare practitioners do play an important role in kind of, being that in between for these folks and helping them understand what they can do starting today, that actionable advice. So one of the key objectives of the course is to really provide practitioners with a comprehensive understanding of what the science is telling us, how to analyze the research, because without that ability to really understand where we're at and also what's coming, we really can't effectively talk to our clients and patients about that data. And it is intimidating. I'll be honest, I was one of those practitioners who initially went into this field thinking, gosh, this is heavy science. What do I do with it? Can I really help my clients with this? And thankfully, yes, the answer is absolutely yes. But you have to understand how that works before you can really make those helpful changes for folks. And like I said, understanding the research is really critical for building confidence in practitioners. And it's important that we stay up to date. This field is rapidly evolving, and what we know today will be potentially vastly different in a year. So getting a jump on how we understand it and what we know about it now is really going to help practitioners really kind of position themselves as experts to help people in this way and utilizing this tool. And a lot of people rely on the internet to understand SNPs. Boy, MTHFR is a really great example of this. So most practitioners have encountered somebody who has an MTHFR SNP, and they get online and they read these blogs or these popular health website, and they start self-prescribing certain nutrients in big doses, and then they're trying to stave off those chronic conditions like cardiovascular disease and blood clots and mental health disorders. And for women who are hoping to have a child, they want to prevent those neural tube defects. And there's a lot more. You look it up, it's very scary. And so people have the best of intentions. They're trying to take control of their health and feel better. But for some people who follow this advice they find online, they can feel worse. And they come into their practitioner saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. I thought this was what I was supposed to do. I feel awful. Help me. What do I do? And when a practitioner understands how to use nutrigenomics as a tool, they can really help that person not only meet their health goals, but just feel better. And they're empowering them with that information. So, they really have that golden opportunity. And you were talking about the role that the practitioner plays. And I think that's such a critical role. You can't take the human element out of it. We can all get data, we can read reports, and some of these reports out there, they are beautiful. They're well organized, but without somebody who has that expertise to really walk us through, what does this mean for me? What do I need to do starting today? What do I need to think about in 6 months? It's really just data, and we don't know what to do with it. So I really think the opportunity for practitioners using this tool is there. It's really an unlimited opportunity, especially as that innovation, we have a lot of brilliant companies out there. The technology is evolving as rapidly as the research, and that's a benefit to us. I'm so excited to see where this goes. The course also focuses on the practice landscape, and I think this is so critical for practitioners. We need to understand not only where nutrigenomics fits into the PN realm, but also what's our scope of practice. So some of these reports are set up as diagnostic tools, and that's not our role. Nutritional genomics isn't about assessing disease risk or discussing diagnostic genes. It's about giving our patients and clients personalized, actionable advice to support their health goals and improve their nutritional status. And fortunately, there's a lot that we can do. And I really do think, and I've seen this with my own clients, they feel so empowered once they understand. And certainly, knowing our role, especially like the social, the ethical, and the legal obligations as well, but also when can we refer out? And I think within personalized nutrition, there's really that it's all about collaborative care and understanding where we fit in and where other practitioners fit in, and really giving our clients the best that they can, this healthcare team, with the goal of getting them better. And I think it's such a powerful, amazing opportunity for us.
Yeah, and I think you make some really amazing points there about the confusion that a lot of the public might have when they're starting, they start to get really interested in their genes and what does this mean and for my health. And a lot of companies have health reports. I mean, even, direct to consumer companies have health reports. And they may or may not have anyone to kind of walk them through, like, what does that mean? Like, what does this risk really truly mean for my life? Do I really need, this slew of supplements that was just recommended? How closely do I have to stick to this meal plan that was generated? What if my lifestyle and this, plan don't mesh, and there are many, many, many ways to approach nutrition when you're looking at a set of data that, a computer may not be able to generate something at this point. We're not quite there yet, where you could just have something like automatically generated that's going to just take into consideration every single thing about your life. And we need to have some flexibility. I mean, we live real lives, if we were just super automated and like, I'm just going to have the exact same meal, every single day at the same time, that's the other thing. There's like timing of food and chrononutrition, which is just, emerging. And we're going to be learning so much more about the microbiome. And this is, I think, precisely to your point about the collaborative care, like when we can partner with other experts in really helping to give someone the tools that they need to live their life, and I think that's what patient empowerment is. That is how people really walk away from a clinical experience and say, I can do this, instead of like, oh my gosh, I have a stack of paper and 4 books to read. And like, this is a really cute report, but like, it doesn't mean anything, and I think that just bringing it all together and having some guidance is just crucial. And there are some studies that have shown just the value of the practitioner, and that remains, and I want to also recognize that just like with personalized nutrition, there are conflicting opinions about what this means and what can be done with nutrigenomics in practice at this point. Can you talk a little bit about that spectrum of opinions and where this program is situated?
Yeah, and I think this is a great topic to address because, I've talked to colleagues who have differing opinions, and I've been on both sides of the spectrum myself. So I think it's good to acknowledge this and understand. So one of the limitations, not only with personalized nutrition, but nutritional genomics specifically, is that it can be cost prohibitive at this point. I do think that we'll see, changes in that area, but it's also a tool that some practitioners believe they don't understand the value. They believe it has no value and that there's no clinical utility. So, why would they use it to create personalized recommendations when they don't see any value to that? But I do want to point out that the interest in nutritional genomics is growing globally. Same with personalized nutrition. So personalized nutrition right now is a $6 billion industry. So there's a lot of potential there. But the market for nutritional genomics is expected to reach 17 billion by the year 2023. So the demand is there, the interest is there, especially for our clients and patients. I'm sure there are a lot of folks who for the holidays will have received some sort of direct-to-consumer genetic test, and they're going to want to understand what that means for them. So, and they can easily purchase these things. They're easily accessible. There's a gazillion, direct-to-consumer tests available. People can, if they're interested, they go out and get it. If they maybe they talk to their practitioner, and their practitioner says, hey, it's not a big deal. I don't know how useful it is, but they're still interested. Maybe they've read a book or read a blog, listened to a podcast. They go get the test and they want to learn more. The issue with this approach and letting folks kind of handle it on their own is that the results of a lot of these direct-to-consumer tests, they can be unreliable at best. And as we mentioned earlier, it eliminates the practitioner from the process. And I really think, building that relationship is such a critical piece of personalized nutrition. And whether we're a nutrition professional, a physician, whatever your area is, we need to continue to build that relationship so that we can help people. And when they are left to interpret and research these results on their own, they turn to Dr. Google. It's scary to think about what they might come away with.
Yeah.
And a lot of these folks, and I've seen this in my practice, you might have as well, but they find these inappropriate and potentially harmful recommendations that on a website or on a podcast, they're generalized. But genes are not generalized. We need to focus on the individual. So we don't want these folks coming away with nutrition focuses or supplement recommendations or lifestyle changes that actually do more harm than good. On the other side, there are some practitioners who believe that nutritional genomics, this is it. This is the only tool that we need, and we need to utilize this to the best of our ability. In both scenarios, the SNPs are assessed in a vacuum. So if we leave our clients to assess these on our own, they're looking at one SNP at a time, and they don't have the expertise to look at everything as a big picture focus, which is really what personalized nutrition does. And the folks that are the practitioners that are only looking at nutritional genomics, they're still looking at those SNPs in a vacuum, and they're not collecting, those really critical pieces you mentioned, like who people are eating with, what they're eating with, what their socioeconomic status is, are they stressed? How are their relationships? That sort of thing.
Yeah,
So,
and environmental factors and such.
absolutely.
And I think I just want to point back to the what you were saying about looking at SNPs in a vacuum, and the MTHFR example is a great one, because you can do yourself a lot of harm by taking mega doses or taking the wrong type of folate or folic acid. And I think what we want to maybe point out too is these SNPs are interacting with each other. And if you're looking at the epigenome, there are compounds that are turning switches on and off, and we're not at the point of understanding the full scope of that.
Right.
Without any knowledge of what's going on, then I think that people can do a lot of damage, and in good hands, you can do a lot of good too. So I think that those are really excellent points. Yeah.
Yeah. And just having the practitioner who's got that training to really explain in layman's terms what methylation means and what the detoxification process. Most people hear detox and they think some, juice fast or, cabbage and water for 5 days, whatever it is. I think it's just really important to be able to, understand these concepts and then relay that information to these folks. And I think, also these practitioners have the ability to say to their clients, hey, I think it's amazing that you are taking your health into your hands. You're working to do the right thing. And so they've got these folks who are ready to change. They're ready to do, to improve their health. And then our job is to step in and give them the tools that they need and continue to empower them. So yeah, absolutely. And I think, like I said, nutritional genomics, the data that we get from that, it's one set of data. It fits within that personalized nutrition focus, but we do need to collect all of the data so that we can really dive into and make appropriate recommendations for these folks So not only, that long-term sustainability, right? Like everyone's done or heard of a short-term diet, these fad diets, these, short-term, fixes to feel better. But personalized nutrition is about giving people the tools to manage their health for a lifetime, right? And understanding their genes, I think it's so critical. It is so critical. And there's just, I can't emphasize enough the opportunity that practitioners have in this moment. I also want to acknowledge that, so we, in our course, we're giving folks, we have case studies to kind of show them, and we utilize different areas. So, the microbiome is a huge one, and there's some really great genomic focused tests that give us a better understanding of what's going on in the gut, but really helping practitioners understand what do we do with that set of data with the intake information that we have from folks. Maybe they did a stress assessment, maybe they did medical symptom questionnaire. We take all that together. Here's what we want to focus on with this, because it's, the nutritional data, the genomic data is really helpful, but we really need to understand how to put those pieces together for the benefit of our client. We also created a handout. So in addition to, that innovation and the leaps and bounds of improvement that technology has made over the last just few years alone, we want to empower practitioners to assess these companies and these tests and these, options that are available, not only for their practice, but for their clients, because as I mentioned, they're not all created equal. And, really slick marketing it's easy for all of us to kind of be taken in by that, but we want these practitioners to understand, the science and the methodology, what kind of testing are they doing? What are the results? Are the results going to be clinically useful for you, for your client? What does the patient handout look like? Is there ongoing practitioner training? So all of these things. So we created a handout that really gives practitioners a roadmap for assessing all of these things so they can really select the right company or test or set of tests that works for them. And because that clinical utility is really critical. And a lot of questions to consider, going forward, maybe some of the tests aren't quite there yet, but they will be soon. So understanding how to assess that, I think, is really, really critical. And again, just meeting the needs of the patient and the practitioner. So important.
Yeah. And I love that tool. It's so helpful. And I think that point about, where we're at now is just it's going to shift. It's going to change. This field is evolving faster than most of us can keep up with it. And so just yet another reason for collaboration across disciplines, but also within the same discipline, like working with someone who can mentor you through the process. And getting started with this training program, I think, is just such great groundwork for practitioners just to understand some of the basics, the importance. The first time I kind of started learning about nutritional genomics, I, like you, was overwhelmed. It felt like a totally different field. And it's kind of hard sometimes to realize, like, this is our field, this is the future of our field. So in your opinion, Jessica, why should practitioners start digging into nutritional genomics now instead of waiting, since we've got so much to learn?
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And I think there are some people who would want to put it off because, well, I'll wait until the technology is there or the research is really there. But as you mentioned, that those interactions between our nutritional genomics and the foodome, we understand those. There's a lot that we understand now that we can start providing clinically applicable actionable advice on. So, we know about the role of some genetic variants as far as our metabolic response to certain nutrients, macro and micronutrients, certain food bioactives, dietary patterns. And there is some solid research showing that a lot of folks, when they have that nutritional genomic data in front of them, and they've had a practitioner really explain to them why it matters, what it means for them, it does improve behavior. Their behavior change is much more positive than if we were just, hey, you really should eat more dark leafy greens and get a little bit more sleep. Don't forget your water kind of thing. But also starting now gives you a leg up. It gives practitioners a leg up and really starts to position practitioners as an expert in personalized nutrition and utilizing this as a tool. And I think that's really important because not only will they understand how to start analyzing that research, as the research evolves, I think practitioners who complete this course will be able to better keep up with and understand, like, okay, we have this data. can I apply this clinically yet? Because some of what we know now, it's relevant, it's important to understand, but it has not provided us with clinically actionable recommendations that we can provide yet. There are other that we know about certain SNPs that absolutely we can provide clinically actionable recommendations through. But I also think as the research evolves, as the technology improves, and we see that innovation, practitioners can expand their practice alongside these, this evolution of where personalized nutrition is going. And I really feel like it gives practitioners kind of a leg up as far as, really utilizing I think this is going to continue to be a really important tool going forward as personalized nutrition evolves, and more practitioners understand the value in it. So, and I also, one of our faculty in the programs, he acknowledged, like, look, personalized nutrition, it's front and center. It is a major focus right now. It's not a passing fad. And nutrition professionals and other, advanced healthcare professionals really need to understand where it's going, what the benefit is, not only to them as a practitioner, but, to their patients and clients. And this course is really seeking to provide that for folks. And I also should mention that this course meets the coursework requirements for sitting for the Certified Nutritional Genomics Specialist exam. So they'll get that credential. And it really just sets them apart from their peers. And I think that really tells their patients and clients, hey, look, I'm at the forefront of this. Your health is important to me, and I'm continuing to improve my education and understanding of where this is all going.
Yeah, and that helps to say, like, you're in good hands as a client, because this is the alternative to Dr. Google, to trying to figure it out on your own, or self-hacking, which if you can do that, power to you. That's that's an endeavor, and having someone with the tools and the expertise to walk you through it is so important. And I also think, for practitioners, starting now is just going to help build confidence over time. It really does take a little bit of time to feel like, okay, I get the basics of genetics, I get how that's now relevant one tier up when it comes to nutrition, and even the interaction of nutritional biochemistry with the genome, and there's a lot that I personally had to revisit and relearn. And it's honestly taken a couple of years, and there's so much more to learn.
Right.
So I think that building up of confidence over time just really helps to position practitioners, like you said. So I think, yeah, great points. So I know that our team and the faculty who have taught this course are so excited to finally bring this course to life and offer it up, as well as a Certified Nutritional Genomics Specialist certification through the BCNS. Jessica, we have some other course offerings coming down the pike. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yes, so we're currently working on the Personalized Nutrition Practitioner program, and it's designed for physicians who would like to elevate their practice with a solid understanding of personalized nutrition and what it means, from their lens. It'll be an online self-paced course. It explores all aspects of the personalized nutrition framework. So it goes into a lot of what, you mentioned earlier on, but it really explains, what is personalized nutrition. And one of the things too, I just want to revisit the paper that you mentioned and kind of the definitions that you provided. One thing I love about how you have approached personalized nutrition is I feel like it kind of invites folks, these practitioners, to understand and think about, what does personalized nutrition mean to me? How does that fit into what I'm currently doing, and where can I take it? And this course is really designed to, for healthcare practitioners who are not currently utilizing personalized nutrition in practice, educates them on what it is and how it will elevate their patient outcomes. It also it really teaches folks about the role of nutrition in a variety of health conditions, and then how to integrate personalized nutrition in practice, because the knowledge is great, but knowing what to do with it is really a key thing. And we're going to do a lot of case studies to kind of pull that all together and show them what it looks like in practice. We have an incredible lineup of faculty sharing their best clinical insights. So that'll be, I think, that'll really make the program successful and wonderful. But the completion of this course will also lead to it meets the coursework requirements for the certifying exam for the Personalized Nutrition Practitioner certification. So, and it's also going to offer 40 CMEs. So that is slated to be released late spring. So keep that on your radar. I think this program is a long time coming. So
yeah,
very
we're excited about all the programs that we're putting out. And Jessica, I know you've put in lots of blood, sweat, and tears for these programs. So everyone can thank you as they take them. Where can people sign up? How can we get people
Yeah,
to
so if we visit the ANA website, we have the information under Educate. You can learn all about our trainings there. And then if you're interested in learning more about the certifications, we do have a certification page on the website. So that's the best place. I really encourage people to go kind of sift through everything. There's a lot of information, but there's a lot of great options to consider for folks depending on where they're at with their practice.
Yeah, that's great. So I think in addition on our website, people can check out, join the ANA family, connect with colleagues, et cetera. Please do visit the ANA.org, and we'll put some links in the show notes for you. And if you want to keep up with the rapidly evolving field of personalized nutrition, we warmly welcome you to our annual summit. It'll be in late September. We already have a stellar lineup of speakers. Our faculty are just amazing, and there are many more to come. You can see the summit program under Educate on the website. And of course, we'd love to hear from you. The ANA is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we both want to thank everyone so much for sharing your time with us today. Be well.
Thank you, Jessica and Victoria. Unfortunately, our time is up. This has been an enlightening evening. Good night and best of health to you all.